That's right. This is our love song, the world renowned, pound for pound, best real HD show on these or any of those airwaves. It is the higher discussion. We are prime time with a purpose. Don't get nervous. We going below the epidermis. My name is Vic. You have tuned into the higher discussion. Thank you for tapping in. I know we're pretty late from when we usually start at 8 p.m., but we here to win. And how we here to win? We going to tap y'all in to this message right here. That's right. Come see us. Come check us. We are here for you. We are the Real HD Show. And that was our full lineup of shows that you can see this week coming on the Real HD Show. The first one being tonight, the Real HD Show. We are the higher discussion. Also, we have coming up, we have the Big House Breakdown, our college football show. Also, right after that, we have on Friday, we have Battle of the Best from the Broadcast Beats crew. They're coming on, giving it to you live and direct. It was still in the prelims with that, but y'all come on in and vote for y'all musical faves. Also on Saturday, we have the Sage Dragon Book Club show. That's right. All you need to know in the wonderful world of literature so you can empower yourself and be a better human being. Also, after that, a hoop show for hoop heads. In the bonus, hoops coming to you Sunday, 7 p.m. Join us on the Real HD Network as we expand and we bring you quality broadcasting. Um, let's jump right into our let's jump right into our AAT report, our healthy, wealthier, and wiser for a brand new you. Hold tight. All right, we're back on the Real HD show. Had to take a moment to get things prim and proper, but let's get right into it. Yeah, so we are in a AAT healthy, wealthier, and wiser report. Air, sea, land, anything that we can do to make you healthier. We're going to talk about it, expose it, try it, check it out, analyze it on the Real HD show because we need cell power. Pandemic robbed us of a lot of that. We're here to get it back. All right, so I'm gonna share my screen, and hopefully you guys can see what I see. You can see what I can see, right? So 1 sec. Let me get on out of this and do it one more again for the win. All right. and we are rocking and rolling. And we're in our healthy, wealthier, and wiser uh, segment of the show for a brand new you. I hope you guys can see that. I'll make it a little bigger. All right. So your vagus nerve decides how long you live. The scary part: 1 in 3 adults have a weak vagus or vagus nerve. It's in the brain, leading to nonstop stress, cortisol, poor sleep, cortisol, elevated inflammation, pain. Here's how to see if yours is broken. The vagus nerve connects your brain to your gut, heart, and lungs. When it works, it lowers your heart rate, reduces blood pressure, and boosts digestion. But most people have a weak vagus nerve. Stress, bad sleep, constant stimulation, uh, anxiety, gut issue, and burnout are everywhere. If your body gets wound up easily, you have trouble resting, difficult falling asleep, anxiety, these techniques will change everything. You'll feel immediate changes as your body winds down. All right. So, one was cold exposure. Cold water on your face, short cold shower, or being in cool temperatures activates the vagus nerve. This lowers your fight or flight response, increases your parasympathetic activity. Your nervous system shifts from chaos to calm. That's where you get the saying, go take a cold shower, right? Number two, deep breathing. Most people take 10 to 14 breaths per minute. You want 6 breaths per minute. Deep breathing from your diaphragm and your stomach should expand outward, make your exhales long and slow. Practice for a few minutes daily. All right. Singing, humming, and gargling. The vagus nerve runs through your vocal cords. Using your voice activates it naturally. Singing in the car, humming while you work, or gargle daily. These simple movements stimulate the nerve and help your body shift to a calmer state. So that's right. So the vagus nerve runs all the way from the back of your throat in your nervous system all the way up into the all the way up the spine into your cerebral cortex. Increased gut bacteria. The vagus nerve is tightly linked to your intestines. Stronger gut bacteria equals stronger signals back to the brain. Add probiotic and fermented foods. A healthier microbiome directly improves your vagus tone and boosts your gut brain connection. Meditation. Meditation directly activates the vagus nerve and strengthens the vagal tone. It lowers fight or flight, slows your heart rate, and shifts your body into calm, restorative state. Omega fatty acids. This is a big one. The essential fats support the electrical signaling in the brain. Hello, all my melanated folks that deal with dementia and Alzheimer's. This is you. Omega 3s and omega 6s help strengthen the vagus nerve activity, improve heart rate variability, naturally lowering heart rate and blood pressure. We know we got that pressure, right? A lot of us got that sugar. Seven, exercise and massage. Movements boost brain derived growth, strengthens your mitochondria, which is the power energy source of the cell, and improves vagus nerve function. Even in slow, even in simple foot reflexology, reduces the fight or flight response. Gentle massage along the carotid area can stimulate the vagus nerve and promote relaxation. 8, laughter drops your major stress hormones and boosts feel good neurotransmitters easily. It activates the vagus nerves, shifts you into a parasympathetic mode, and creates a full body sense of relaxation and mental clarity. All right, you can go follow Fitness Tips for Muscle Morph on Instagram. Thank you for bearing with me through that. You know, that was a real dope one. Everybody watching, please support, support, support. We appreciate everybody rocking with us on Kick, and we appreciate everybody rocking with us on Twitch, and everybody watching on the Real HD Network and the AJ James Facebook pages. What did y'all think of all of those remedies to help you to be a better you? Um, is it helpful? Is it not helpful? Let us know what you think. Did you know about the vagus nerve that runs from your cerebral cortex into the brain? And do you practice any of these things, any of these methods, and how have they helped you? Tap in, give us a like, give us a comment on that very thing there. All right. All right. So we got one more. I want to share my screen and then I'm going to get to it. These are 5 things that will help save your life as you sleep. So, 5 things that are going to help save your life as you sleep. Let's see, how can we get to it? All right, habits. So, what I want to do is I want to share my screen again, and then we'll pop up. Will pop up what it is. Okay, so the first habit that will save your life while you're sleeping is to not sleep on your stomach. Sleeping on your stomach isn't usually deadly, but it can strain your body in ways that worsen health problems, neck and spine compression, restricting breathing, and worsening undiagnosed breathing problems. It won't kill most people, but it will worsen underlying issues that affect long term health. So, all my tum tum sleepers, we're not saying that you have to cut that out altogether, but you do have to try to do something a bit different. All right. Try side sleeping, try drinking cherry juice before you go to bed. And to get the most restful sleep, you want to be on your back. Stop taking sleeping pills regularly. This is the one with the most real medical risk when misused. It causes respiratory depression, increased risk and falls and confusion, dependence and tolerance on the pills, like how Rush Limbaugh was addicted to Oxycontin, and worsen sleep apnea. These medications relax the throat muscles, making breathing interruptions more severe. So that's another one. So I hope you guys can see what I'm showing. I'm going to put up the third one. Oh, you can't. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll just read it. It's in this folder here that you're looking at, and I'll just read it while I'm here, and I'll try to go through it fast. Eating a heavy meal at night. A big late meal can affect your sleep and long-term health. Um, it's a reflux and aspiration risk. So that means it doesn't give your body enough chance to digest your meal. So you may wind up kind of, everyone has heard this saying when you kind of throw up in your mouth. Well, that sort of thing can happen. And that also gives your body a chance to cause pneumonia. So you don't ever want to eat a super heavy meal at night. So all my people that like to dip into the fridge after 10, 11 o'clock, knock it off. All my people that love to eat a burger at night or something like that, don't do it. Don't risk it. Raises nighttime blood sugar and heart strains, right? Heavy fatty acid meals force your heart and your digestive system to work harder during mealtime, um, when they should be recovering. And it also leads to poor sleep quality, heart disease, obesity, and insulin resistance. So that means you may run the risk of, diabetes. So, number four, don't sleep with the phone near your head. Yeah, you heard me. Don't sleep with the phone near your head. These are five things that will help you that you're not supposed to do in your getting ready for bed routine. Phones near your head are dangerous because of radiation. The real dangers from sleep disruption, blue light exposure, micro arousals, which can lead to heart disease, stroke, obesity, memory, and immune suppression, and increase stress. You don't want to have your phone near your ear or your head. And if you watched the show a couple of months ago, you'll remember how I showed you how the young lady passed away because she slept on the phone overheated, and it caused a issue with her ear canal and her nerve, her retinal nerve, and it killed her. Sleeping with the TV on, that's another no-no. So try not to do these things. We know that these things are habit formed already. But we want to try not to do these things as much as possible. So the last one is sleeping with the TV on. The light exposure disrupts melatonin in the brain. The increased nighttime stress, because it breaks your sleep. Sleep fragmentation. Your brain keeps processing voices or music from the television. You never get a chance to truly rest. Prevents memory consolidation and prevents your ADP to ATP cycle from being, which is how your body gets burns, creates phosphorus, burns sugar, and creates energy. And long-term risks of cardiovascular disease, depression, diabetes, and cognitive decline. So I hope those things help. I'm gonna get on out of this because I know this doesn't really look like anything, and we're gonna get back up and do it again, one more again. Um, but those were five things that you're not supposed to do. So we showed you eight things that you can do, and then we showed you five things that you're not supposed to do if you want to increase your uh, health and vitality. One is within your the logistics of your day and your diet. Another one is within the logistics of before and while trying to get to sleep. So we want to practice those things daily, and hopefully you see a greater risk, a greater health increase, not risk but decrease, a greater health increase. And I can tell you for sure, I put my phone in all the way over on the other side of the room, and I was sleeping really good when I don't have that phone right near me. I got to tell you that. I was having trouble sleeping for months, and the minute I moved that phone into another locale, I'm sleeping great. You know what I mean? I don't have to like. I'm not so worrisome in my mind. I don't have a million things running around my head. I don't have a lot of things, uh, charging for my attention and battling for my attention, and I am getting to sleep these days. So I would challenge you guys, if you guys have those same sort of sleep issues, please, please, please try to remove your phone from your environment, put it in another room, set a real nice loud ringtone to it so you can hear it and you get up and get it. And then that's another thing too. You know, we want our phone near us so we can hear that alarm. But then again, we don't want that radiation coming back to us and disrupting our sleep. All right. So let's see. Do we have this one? Yeah, let me put this one up. So I have one more I want to show you guys, and it's about copper zap. That's right, copper zap. That's a particular um, m- that's a particular device. It's kind of going before I'm ready for it to go, but it's a product that you use, and it's built and purposed to help you, balance your metallurgy within the body. And it also prevents colds, flu, um, and all kinds of It's really good for the skin. And one more time, I'm gonna share my screen. We're still in the middle of a AAT moment, healthy, wealthier, and wiser for a brand new you. Y'all get in here and let us know what y'all think. So I'm gonna share it right now. Hopefully you guys can see that. Yeah. And what we'll do is we'll enlarge that and then we'll get to it. This is from a show called The Doctors. And they're gonna talk a little bit about this copper zap and what it does and what it doesn't. And y'all tap in and let me know what y'all think about it on the other side. All right, here we go.
It's a copper rod that you're apparently supposed to put at the base of your nose. And I guess, Drew, I'm going to send you the instructions.
I think I have to show this to Dr. Gordon because he is the
It claims to kill bacteria and viruses in minutes, and more claims. Colds often, as we know, start once the virus can get up in your nose. And so the thought is that if you touch the base of your nose with copper, it'll kill the virus before it starts spreading. And we know...
So there is some data in hospitals that surfaces that have copper actually are less conducive to infection. And it's actually kind of an interesting science that the electrical conductivity of the copper is thought to disrupt microbes.
I taste the copper now.
Do you really?
Yeah, putting it in my nose.
But the flip side is $60 copper wand, 60 seconds in your nostrils.
This is no joke. I worry about people putting this in their nose themselves. I know exactly the direction to put it and the angle to put it. And you know, that if you nick your septum or your turbinate with that, which would be very easy, you could get a really significant nosebleed.
But there is good evidence as far as copper being something that can be bacteriostatic, can kill viruses.
Anti-inflammatory.
But I think the concept here, I appreciate it, but the execution for me, it's not something I would use. And I'd love to see some more data. So, Doc, you're the...
All right, so we're going to come out of that, and I'll talk a little bit about that. Well, the data that exists for this particular piece is really interesting because that was a video from 2020, and it's now 2025, going into 26. And if you go to copperzap.com, either on Facebook or the URL or any of those places where where the actual brand solicits the product, you'll see testimony after testimony of people, really getting into this product. They really believe it works, and they swear by it. There's even they even reinforce it by saying that even if you have the copper in the palm of your hand, it can help with fending off germs that get on the surface of your hand. So that means that's right when you're walking through, busy airport areas or, travel hub areas, and you have to touch or you have to be involved with, multiple people in one area, and you're kind of looking for that, you're looking to be as safe as possible. Some people use kerchiefs, some people use antibacterial sprays or gels. They're saying this copper zap is supposed to be a shield for microbes that could invade the palm of your hand. And I believe that. Why? Because I used to teach physics, right? And when I was teaching physics, I would explain the electrical conductivity of the cell. And what copper does for the body is copper helps out the mitochondria, which is the battery of the cell, which helps to increase the electricity of the cell, which also helps to speed up the activity of, like I said, mitochondria and your cell membrane. Now, your cell membrane is responsible for bringing waste out of the cell. So no wonder why this works. The cell membrane guards the cell, and it's also responsible for bringing waste out of the cell. And then it, of course, goes into your endocrine system and your the other parts of your bodily systems and appears as waste. And you don't want those things to stay in the cell. You really want a hyperconductivity within the cell to help out the mitochondria, to help out the cell membranes and the organelles, so that the waste is expelled faster, and it also prevents those things that try to invade the cell. So trust and believe, and also metal ionizes, right? So when metal ionizes the cell can, when the cell is super ionized, it's supercharged and it works, let's say, you can almost say like a battery, 2 times, 3 times better when it's ionized. So certain things ionize the cell. Vitamin C ionize the cell, certain metals ionize the cell, and in this way, copper, which is a metal, ionizes the cell. So go check that out. Go check out Copper Zap. Um, we have an Amazon affiliate partner now on the Real HD Show, and we want you to eventually start, rocking with us and buying products from the, you know, Real HD Show links. We'll have a link in the bio description of the show, and then stuff like this you can actually purchase, and then you will be helping out the Real HD Show to, you know, raise money, raise funds. Your transaction will go back and reinforce the show. It's like dollars staying in the community. So let's start with that. Let's go with that. And even if you don't give me the credit this week, make sure you go and buy this for your own health and well being. And then stay tuned to the Real HD Show for more information on how you can be healthy, wealthier, and wiser for a brand new you. That was our AAT. All right. So, one more again, if you want to get involved with the show, there's a way for you to do it, right? And you can get to it by hitting the URL below or putting it in your address bar above, and you too can join us, and we could all have a higher discussion, right? So that's how you can join us tonight. StreamYard.com, CIHCNYTGT. I'm sorry, not TG, but 2G. 2W. CHICNY 2G 2W. You put it up above in your address bar, and you can come on up with us. You can come on up with us through either you can cam up, or you can have an avatar in its place. We just have to be able to hear you audibly in order for you to rock out and be on the show. This is the higher discussion, your voice, your victory, right here on the Real HD Show. All right, let's get to it. So we have a lot to cover tonight, and I'm hoping that we get to it, but we will never ever just keep doing the show if you are on board and want to jump in. So if you want to jump in, and then we can begin to make it better, like the Beatles said, okay? So now let's get into our elders. You know what? Let's not even get into that. Let's do a stolen legacy moment. We haven't done a stolen legacy moment in a minute. Here we go. Shout out to DJ Clean who created that beat. Dope ass beat. Put it on here. Shout out to DJ Clean. Shout out to Dirty Clean. The whole Dirty Clean village. Check them out as they do their thing on Friday night. Battle of the Best Broadcast Beach. Y'all get in here for that. Participate. All right. So we are in a stolen legacy moment. We don't do a whole lot of those, but we have two. We have two stolen legacy moments this evening, and we're going to proceed to give you what you need. The first one we're going to do is my man Alexander Dumas. Special dude, special dude of centuries past, but put it down, wrote the most famous books in the world. And he happens to be a brother. Let's check it out. Stolen legacy moment on the Real HD Show. Here we go.
came from a black bloodline the world tried to bury. Alexandre Dumas, the author of The Three Musketeers, was a black man. Born in 1802, he became one of the most celebrated writers in French history. But the genius didn't start with him. It started with his father. General Thomas Alexandre Dumas, born 1762 in Saint-Domingue to an enslaved black woman and a French noble. Kidnapped into slavery as a child, brought to France, rose through the Revolutionary Army and became the highest-ranking black military officer in all of Europe. A man Napoleon feared. He led over 50,000 troops, won battles across Italy and Egypt, fought with a ferocity that inspired legends. And his son turned those legends into the stories the world remembers. The Three Musketeers, the Count of Monte Cristo, the Black Tulip. What the world celebrates as French literature came from black blood, black brilliance, and a black general history tried to erase. They tried to bury the lineage, but the legacy never died. Follow for more untold stories. This journey is just beginning.
Hey, we love that. Alexander Dumas, one of my favorite books, man. The Count of Monte Cristo, The Man with the Iron Mask, The Three Musketeers, Black Tulip. So many really, really dope books that describes the, you know, the crowning middle age experience of Europe, written from the perspective of a brother. And one of the things that's really interesting about how he's writing it is, especially the Man with the Iron Mask, is he writes it from being in jail. He writes the Man with the Iron Mask from the POV of being in jail and from the POV of being, um, mentally incarcerated with an iron mask. Not only was he in a dungeon in the middle of France, but he was in jail, and he wrote that book with that sort of vim and vigor all the way back then, all the way back in the 1800s. So we want to support that. Those are unforgettable works. They make movie after movie after movie of these things. They like to whitewash those edicts and those storylines like they created them, and they take the money. And I hope the Dumas family and the Dumas estate is getting money for all of these worldwide renditions of all these great works. Go check out Alexander Dumas. You will not be disappointed. One of my favorite authors. I tell everybody I know to check out Dumas, because if you could think about, if you kind of align him with contemporary times and what people are going through incarcerated and trying to change their life around, or being framed for something that they didn't commit, and then they have to serve time. And we're hearing story after story after story of how many brothers and sisters go through that. You will have such an experience with Dumas writing. And of course, you heard all of the exploits and all of the accomplishments that he was able to do over the course of his being, commanding armies, inventions, books. My man was thorough, man. He was a really powerful, powerful dude in France. And, when the Harlem Renaissance giants took a trip to France in the 1940s to a conference to seek advocacy and allyship for against racism in the United States, they were welcomed with open arms and as artists. And one of the reasons I believe they were, Josephine Baker and Richard Wright and Lorraine Hansberry, the reason why all of those folks were welcomed with open arms is because they have an affinity and a penchant for Alexander Dumas and a respect. He's one of their giants. So they respect when melanated people come through to contribute to the art, culture, and society, and they respect them differently than what other, you know, the other Anglo Saxons were doing at the time. You know, we know that chattel, we know that chattel song, right? That peculiar institution. Anyhow, so we moving on. And we got one more in the kitty for Stolen Legacy. And this one is a good one. This one is a little more contemporary. It's about my man, Jerry Lawson. That's right. He's a brother. And he's done some really powerful things. You know, we're gonna keep it going with Stolen Legacy. We got a couple we can show you too. We got a couple that are real good. So we're gonna keep going with that. But we're gonna show you Jerry Lawson right now. And Jerry Lawson is responsible for one of the billion-dollar industries that hit the planet in the last 30 years. And what is that? That's the wonderful world of gaming. That's right. Jerry Lawson was responsible for creating the very first cartridge. That's right. If you remember back in the 80s when Nintendo came out and Atari and all of those game systems, and you had this little funny thing and you had to insert it into this box. And then it clicked, and then a fan started. You heard the things, you heard the motherboard firing up, you heard the fan start working, and you heard things start moving. Jerry Lawson in the 1940s is responsible for bringing the cartridge technology to the marketplace. And when the cartridge technology was brought to the marketplace, then it metastasized into modern day gaming. So Sony, Nintendo, Atari, PS5, Xbox, they all owe a debt of gratitude to Jerry Lawson. Let's check them out.
Gaming possible was a black engineer you've probably never heard of. His name was Jerry Lawson. Born in Brooklyn in 1940, Lawson grew up obsessed with electronics. As a teenager, he built his own ham radio station. By the 1970s, his skills landed him in Silicon Valley at Fairchild Semiconductor. And in 1976, he changed gaming forever. Lawson created the Fairchild Channel F, the first video game console to use interchangeable cartridges. Before him, consoles had one game hardwired in. If you wanted to play something new, you had to buy an entirely new system. Lawson's idea: pop in a cartridge, switch games, expand endlessly. That single innovation became the foundation for Atari, Nintendo, Sega, and the entire multi-billion-dollar gaming industry. The Fairchild Channel F itself wasn't a huge hit, but its technology became the blueprint for every console that came after. Lawson didn't just make cartridges. As one of the very few black engineers in Silicon Valley at the time, he broke barriers that opened doors for generations of creators. He passed away in 2011. But every time you swap a disc, download a game, or plug in a cartridge, you're touching Jerry Lawson's legacy. Like, share, and follow, because history of gaming
There you go. We're talking about my man Jerry Lawson. And every girlfriend and every wife is like, damn, 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 Jerry Lawson. You're responsible for why my husband won't put down that damn controller. But Gamer Nation, Twitch Nation, anybody who has had a history with video games like I have, shout out to my cousin Dave, shout out to my cousin Cha-Cha. We all kind of embraced the video game fever and legacy at the same time with Rob the Robot from Nintendo. Who can remember Rob the Robot? If you can remember Rob the Robot, give me a comment and I'll give you a gift certificate to a restaurant. $100 gift certificate. Save you some money at a restaurant. Tap in and tell me something distinct that you remember about Rob the Robot from the original Nintendo. And that was in the 80s. But that was Jerry Lawson, right? So first we talked about Alexander Dumas. Now we talked about Jerry Lawson. And we're jumping around centuries with this black greatness, right? Stolen legacy, as they like to call it. So we're going to keep it going. And we're going to talk about two sisters. One was in the antebellum era, and the other one was in the Reconstruction era. But they're both super duper impactful, and they're just super duper dope. And this story is a peculiar one, like the peculiar institution. Because back when a lot of us had to be in chattel slavery and at the service of those YT people, we had to, it was survival mode. You had to do whatever you needed to do to survive, right? Wasn't pretty, wasn't sexy. It was just what you needed to do to survive. And then, of course, some of the interracial some of the mestizo, some of the mulatto population were in fact in demand as sexual partners during that time period. Wasn't a pretty thing, wasn't a great thing, but I mean, you could ask your man Alexander Hamilton and Thomas Jefferson when they was dipping. You know what I mean? You know what I mean by dipping, right? Dipping and tipping. You know what I'm saying? Looking for that ass whipping. But anyway, I digress. If you watch Halle Berry's Queen movie, you'll understand what I mean by dipping, right? So this one sister, her name is Jezebel. That's all she goes by because, of course, the records, them bum ass people couldn't keep proper records. So she's known by Jezebel, and she has a really interesting story. Let's check it out. Stolen Legacy moment.
Used 11 Ku Klux Klan leaders and slit their throats in their own bed. Yeah, those eyes. She was known by the name Jezebel. Somewhere along the moist bayous of southern Louisiana in the brutal summer of 1872, 11 men died in their beds. Not from yellow fever, not from consumption. Each one, his throat slit open with surgical precision while he slept. This is Black AF history, the unwhitewashed story of America. It talks about ladies like herself who bravely took the lives of men who were trying to hurt and harm their people. Their bodies discovered at dawn were frozen between ecstasy and terror. All 11 were prominent members of the Knights of the White Chenille, the region's most feared chapter of the Ku Klux Klan. Local authorities documented the deaths as unrelated incidents spread across 4 parishes, filing reports that contradicted witness statements and physical evidence. The case was quietly closed within 6 months, all records sealed by order of the parish judge. But in the cramped quarters of the colored sections and the black rooms of freedmen's churches, another story circulated, one that will be whispered for generations, never written down, never spoken aloud. The grand plantations that had once produced sugar and cotton by the ton now stood like rotting teeth against the Louisiana sky. Their fields were turning to swamp. Their major houses, occupied by federal troops, are left to collapse.
All right, so there you got Jezebel, right? And of course, they came up with all these kind of wild names for people because they were too shiftless, lazy, and inaccurate to take people's names efficiently and create efficient records. And she was a mulatto in the Louisiana area. I'm talking about Jezebel. And she was a rider. She didn't like the way her people were being treated. And she used sex as a weapon. Now, there's a lot of young ladies that use sex as a weapon in modern times. And we won't go down that rabbit hole. Y'all see enough, examples of it. But here is a real rider who used her sexuality to actually help out the cause of her family, her people, her community. She killed 11 Ku Klux Klan members while they were trying to, I don't know, have sex with her, rape her, sodomize her, whatever their activity was indicating at the time. She's a rider. It also reminds me of Princess Anne out of Canada. And she was a very pretty woman too. She might have been mulatto. She might not have been, but Princess Anne used to make the white YT people fall in love with her, and then she wore them out with the sexuality, and as they slept, she burned their houses to the ground. And go check out Princess Anne of Canada. She was a rider too. And we're going to show you one more rider in a very similar vein. And if this woman didn't do what she did, well, the Black Mecca of culture in the United States probably would not be the same. I'm talking about Hannah Elias, Miss Harlem. Check it out. Real HD Show.
Who was one of the wealthiest Black women in the early 1900s. In 1884, at the age of 19, she was put in prison because she stole a gown for her sister's wedding from a woman she was working for. She got out of prison. She ended up becoming a professional professional worker in Manhattan. And that is when she met this very wealthy man named Jonathan Platt, 45 years older than her. Then they continued this affair, and he gave her tons of money, even to pay for her own divorce, bought her a house in Central Park West, and he showered her with jewelry, including his dead wife's watch. In 1903, there was this man, Cornelius Williams, and he was madly in love with her, and he shot and murdered a man that he thought was Platt. Platt accused Hannah Elias of extortion of almost $1 million. She had to go to jail and go to court. When she gave her testimony in court, it was found that she had millions. Platt filed a suit of extortion. She won the case, and then she moved to Europe, and that is where she died.
Okay, now I got one more of the same person. I'm going to show you this video, and it gives a little more detail as to what she did with Harlem. So you can see she was a lady of the night. She used her feminine wiles to get after the men's, and in the men's, you know, she was like Sunshine of her day. If anybody remembers Sunshine from Harlem Nights, she spread that sunshine all over the place. She helped them dudes put on a happy face, and they was murdering and killing and giving them money for it. Let's check her out. Last one.
At our series Before Black Wall Street, highlighting black millionaires who came before the famous Black Wall Street. I know you've seen the show Gilded Age. Well, here's a story most people have never heard from that famous time. Her name was Hannah Elias. Born in poverty in the late 1800s, she rose to own some of the most valuable property in New York City. Harlem, the Upper West Side, even Central Park West. At a time when women couldn't open bank accounts and black women were written out of wealth altogether, Hannah built a quiet empire in real estate. She used strategy, secrecy, and brilliance to buy property through front companies, protecting her identity while building generational wealth. When newspapers found out, they tried to shame her. They called her names, printed lies, and tried to destroy her reputation. But Hannah never apologized for her success. She stood in it. Before Black Wall Street, Hannah Elias showed that brilliance, strategy, and ownership have always been part of our story, even when history tried to erase the receipts. If her name was erased from your history books, follow for more stories of black excellence. The black...
All right, so that's Hannah Elias and her contribution to the people them. And she basically created Harlem, New York. Upper Manhattan, all the way to the 149th Street Bridge. She bought with front companies, all so that black people could have a place to live. Because, you know, excuse me, of course, at the time, they were discriminating against black people, not giving black people adequate jobs or housing or anything like that. And her wealth, done through and, you know, expedited through front companies. So in other words, you know, she wouldn't use her name. She would use like a brand. And then that way they couldn't deny her the business. And she bought up blocks and blocks and super blocks and took up the entire radius of what we know as Harlem, USA today. So the Mecca for black people is, we owe a debt of gratitude to Hannah Elias, who bought Harlem back in the early 20th century. All right. So that we were in the middle of a stolen legacy moment. Yeah, we were in the middle of a stolen legacy moment. We did Jezebel. We did Hannah Elias. We did two others, Alexander Dumas and Jerry Lawson. 4 dope individuals that changed the course of history, that were melanated people. Some by means that were not so great, some by means that were very great, but I'm sure they all had their trials and tribulations and their story to tell. Go check them out. Go get involved with them and, you know, get into their stories, get into their legacies. And I hope it gives you a battery in your back. I hope it gives you some motivation, some inspiration, and hope it taps into that ingenuity so you too can be the best you can be and get things done while we still have life, breath, and we can walk the planet and rock out. All right, y'all. So we moving on. Real HD show. We ran a little late today, which is probably why we don't have a panel on the show, but that's cool. We got a lot to get through anyway, so we're gonna try to forge ahead. And right now, we are in the middle of a Lit City report. Let's go. All right, so we're in the middle of a Lit City report. The wild, the wacky, the wonderful things that make our world go round, because we need levity. That's right. We got so many things that we battle, that we talk about, the good, the bad, the ugly of our people, how it affects us, how generationally it moves through our families and through our livelihoods, fair and unfair sometimes. And sometimes, like the health segment said, if you can laugh, if you can take that stress off your brain, if you can reduce those cortisol moments in your lifetime, then you can extend life. And that's exactly what we want to try to do today. So we have a video we want to show you. One of the Lit City Report videos we're going to get to is one about the zip challenge. Now we say, what's the quarter zip challenge? I don't know what that is. I had to look it up. I got this from a really reliable source that is kind of dope. So we want to check this out, and we want to see what it's doing for the people, them, especially the young men. Check it out. Lit City Report.
Quarter zips? You're witnessing the quarter zip effect. The joke is that the moment you put one on, your entire personality switches. You instantly go from roadman to a studious gentleman who only drinks matcha and checks his stock portfolio. It's basically a cheat code to looking rich without the money. So is it time to finally ditch the Nike tech? Let me know, because...
All right, so you heard it. It's the quarter zip challenge. Now, Daddy said things, don't you know things go in cycles? That's what my dad told me. Things go in cycles. Like things aren't ever, dead. They always wind up coming back. They always wind up, reappearing. And this is not the only time that the quarter zip challenge or dressing well for black men had a revolutionary turn. That means it was gone for a while and then it came back. So now we're talking about the Harlem Renaissance, because in the Harlem Renaissance, you wouldn't be caught dead without a suit on, a tie, a dress shirt. Some people argue. And then, of course, as the 60s came into play, civil rights ended, 60s came into play, free love. And then we got into the Black Power movement. Then a lot of people felt like the need to look white European was played out, and we wanted more self and cultural identity. So we went away from those things. We turned more to common shirts, plain shirts, turtlenecks, leather jackets, things that showed camaraderie, unity, and purpose amongst our community. And then the 80s and 90s and the 2000s came, and then everybody just it kind of became like a free for all. It kind of became like you can mix and match and blend based on political affiliation, identity affiliation, whatever you thought was special. I do the very same thing. I was taught by my grandfather and my uncle and my father that there's a time and place for everything. So if I'm going out to an exquisite dinner, I'm not going to have a hoodie on. But if I'm going out to the gym, then I might have a hoodie on. If I'm going out to run on a really on a hike or a long walk, then I'm going to address appropriately for the activity that I'm doing. I'm speaking to you guys right now. We're in common company. So I'm comfortable. I got on my little Nike fit, my little Adidas fit, and we rocking out. But the problem is some of the younger people take the relaxed look too far, wearing hoodies a lot of the time and not ever dressing proper unless, and y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all call up, y'all can jump in the comments if you like. The only time I see a young person looking proper or looking like they, without the pants sagging or anything like that is when they got to go to a job interview. So that means you know the difference between a relaxed fit, a really relaxed fit with a hoodie, and a fit where you know you can be prim and proper, be in shape, dress for a time and a place versus just walking out the house like looking like you just woke up. Now, if you don't have anything immediate to do, there's nothing wrong with that. But the quarter fit challenge, the quarter zip challenge, is an attempt to get young men out of the habit of dressing lowly and getting them into the habit of dressing with more decorum, understanding that there's a time and a place for everything, including your dress, hopefully improving the black male image across the planet. So let me tell you something. There was a movie called Birth of a Nation. It was made in 1905 by D.W. Griffith. And most white people in the country at that time who saw that movie didn't live near black people. So they had no idea what black people look like. They had no idea what black people did, what we were like culturally. Most black people were in urban and city areas to get work. So we really didn't have exposure to white people. White people really didn't have exposure to us. But something that D.W. Griffith in Birth of a Nation did was he painted a horrible Jim Crow image of what a black people look like. And he did it with white people in blackface. He did it with white people in blackface. And there are some modern examples of white people that can't get enough of dressing in blackface. I don't know why. This Lily Gaddis chick, this influencer, she likes to do it. I don't know why she likes to do it, but that's kind of her get down. Trying to find a picture of it so I can show it to you guys. Okay, well, when I find it, I'll show it to you guys. But I have the actual article about it, so I'll show you the article. So as soon as that loads up, I'll show it to you. But the quarter zip challenge is an attempt by, it's one of the better challenges. It's a challenge attempt at making young men dress better, therefore having a better image, therefore hopefully improving your world image on a world stage, so that as you go out there and you try to achieve more and you try to be all you can be, you in fact look and you can purport yourself in a decent way, and hopefully opportunities attract to what you're trying to present, and those opportunities meet you halfway and you can further your lives, because they don't think you're like the negative stereotypes of what the white media likes to put out there about black men in the ethos. Okay, so here's that Lily Gaddis interview. Why is Lily Gaddis influencer YouTube demonetized? Well, she got demonetized from YouTube because she dressed up in blackface, in fact. So I'm trying to find a picture of how I had it earlier. I had a picture of her in here. Lily Gaddis. Where's her joint at? Yeah. All right, I found one. I'll pull it up. But the point is, so it's a sweater shirt with a zipper that stops midway through the chest, and some like to put, dress shirts, turtlenecks, ties underneath, and they wear it with like slacks and like a comfortable dress shoe. And of course, they think that that's going to magically improve the character, integrity, and momentum of the young man who's wearing it. Now, there's two schools of thought on that. There's that one, right? You dress for the job you want, not the job you have, right? And another school of thought is, and this is where I need everybody to jump into the Real HD comment section and let me know what you think. You can even tap in and come up live if you want to talk about this. Because now we're talking about respectability politics. And did respectability politics get us where we needed to go in the 21st 20th century, not the 21st. We're in the 21st. The 20th century. Did respectability politics, dressing like others, or did we, in fact, have an identity? If the identity was dressing like other folks, did that get us where we were supposed to go? Did that increase our ownership and our ownership and agency capacity? Did that help us battle against the over 200 racial riots that put black towns and black cities underwater and turned them into national parks? So this is why we got to have a higher discussion about this, because those are the two things. Those are the two things at play. Do young black men need to have a better overall image? Yes, they do. I ain't gonna lie about that. The hoodies in 90-degree weather, 80-degree weather, that's cap. Knock it off. Right? That's not even healthy, because you're gonna lead to dehydration. You can't wear a hoodie 24/7 in the world. You gotta dress time and a place. But did dressing like Europeans, white people as it were, get us where we needed to be in the 20th century? Did it ward off any of those 200 racial mass riots on black towns and cities, thriving black towns and cities? Tulsa, Oklahoma, Wilmington, Delaware, uh, Ochacuchee, Florida, Rosewood, right? Did it help those? Seneca Village, right? We just heard that Hannah Elias bought property in Upper Manhattan and all of Harlem. Did dressing those ways help us with our ownership and agency? These are the circular conundrums, issues, and questions that as a community we like to explore here on the Real HD Show. These are the things that we grapple with all the time as a people. How do we, how do we relate to those things? What's best policy for our community about those things? Not just the things that our people want when we need a job, want and do when we need a job, when we need an opportunity, or should we never do it? But then that would call for us creating more opportunities for ourselves so that we can, in fact, uh, dress the way we want, purport the way we want, and let it be our prerogative to do what we need to do and what we want. Yeah, man. So we're in the middle of a lit city report. That was a lit city report right there, because I like the challenge. I like the challenge only because it's just that. It's a challenge, right? So it gets you out of your comfort zone. It makes you think a little bit. It makes the blood move a little more in the body, because you are now participating in something that you wouldn't normally participate in. I have an affinity for wearing suits and ties and dress clothing, the way that the quarter zip challenge indicated. Because, growing up, all I saw was my father, my grandfather, and my uncle. And whenever they went out on the town, they was zooted and booted. They had on ties, they had on suits, they looked clean, they looked 90 degrees sharp. They hit the town with haberdashery, watches, bangles, smelling good, looking good, clean. You know what I mean? And I knew that gave me a sense that when you had something special to do, when you had something, when you needed your image to precede you, you dress for the occasion. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean you have to do it all the time. But like a wise man said, there's a time and a place for everything. All right. So we got one more video in our Lit City report, and it's about J. Edgar Hoover and what J. Edgar Hoover wanted to do and what he thought about the black community. Now, why is he important? Because he's going to be important for something that we're going to get to in a sec, once we catch his video. Let's see. How did I title it? Let's see. Okay. this it? Yep, that's it. All right. Here we go. J. Edgar Hoover. What did he think of the black community? I'm going somewhere with this. Stay with me.
FBI said was the biggest threat to America. It wasn't drugs, it wasn't foreign enemies or terrorism, and it definitely wasn't a whack-ass KKK who had been terrorizing black communities for centuries. According to J. Edgar Hoover, the biggest threat to America was Negro unity. That's why the FBI launched COINTELPRO, the counterintelligence program. This wasn't about protecting the country, this was about destroying black progress. So let me give you some real examples. The FBI sent Dr. King a letter encouraging him to kill himself. They threatened him with recordings from illegal surveillance and told him he was a fraud. They spread lies about Malcolm X. They forged letters pretending to be the Nation of Islam members to turn Malcolm against Elijah Muhammad. They smeared the Black Panthers. They leaked fabricated stories calling them violent criminals when the Panthers were running a free breakfast program in health clinics. They knew one thing. If they could destroy your name, they could weaken your message.
So we're talking about unity, right? So that's what J. Edgar Hoover, he feared a black messiah because he knew a black messiah, a black savior, could in fact force unity in the black community. The message and the nomenclature would be so powerful, like a Malcolm X, like Fred Hampton, that it would captivate enough of us to be united, and then they would have problems stopping us and stopping our progress and our dynamic destiny as a people. And they were right for the most part, right? But something I want to get to, right? That's kind of irking me a little bit is if unity is our way to success, and I don't think anybody would argue that, then why every year do we blow our opportunity for unity when it comes to Black Friday? Why do we do it? Somebody will put out a message, one of our leaders will put out a message saying, hey, we're not going to support the economics of the white community, the macroeconomics of the country. We're not going to do it. We're not going to participate in it. And somebody will have the prerogative to break code, not be on code, and they will shop, spend money in white businesses when we are trying to manifest progressive things for our people in the days and years to come. And then it always winds up being this dichotomy, this split of what's best for us. My survival, my yearnings, my selfish intent, my family progression over our people's family progression. Rise up, you mighty race, accomplish what you will, i.e. Marcus Garvey. But how can we do that if every single time we call for unity and there's a holiday and we spend money we don't have on Black Friday sales that don't amount to anything? What do I mean by that? Well, everybody was going crazy over the Thanksgiving holiday that just happened. Black Friday. Walmart put out ads. Target put out ads. Oh, I'm going to give you a sexy tote bag and you come on, and then it forced people to be out there 3 a.m, risking pneumonia, risking life and limb, right? You didn't know if you were going to incur violence. You didn't know what was going to happen to you being out there at 3 a.m, all to get a tote bag. And you know what was in the tote bag, family? Uno cards, lip gloss, tape. So they got you risking health, life, limb to participate in their economic structure. And what it was a call and response. It was a test. And we didn't pass it. We didn't pass it. And I'm not just blaming us. It was white people out there too. We didn't pass the test. We proved their metrics positive. That if they said they were going to give us something for free, we volunteered ourselves to endure harsh weather, violence, pneumonia, all of the things, just to get a few baubles and trinkets that you wouldn't even buy on a normal day. You don't need a damn pack of Uno cards or some lip gloss or some chapstick or whatever they had in them bags. Now, I usually have a little picture of the Black Friday bag. So it was a little shiny bag, little shiny tote bag with some mementos inside. And then, of course, everybody wants to go in there, shop till you drop, get sales and all of that. But the bigger, more profound lesson about that was that we were supposed to be protesting. Why? Because of the whole SNAP situation and what that meant for our people. Because of the whole invading our urban areas with police and ICE and federal agents and making us look like we were in a panopticon where we couldn't even sneeze without getting arrested. We got to stand pat, man. We got to stay firm. We got to stay on code. And we just did not do it. We ate some food. We got the itis. Took a nap. Took a long nap. Took a long winter's ass nap. Got up. Put our health, life, and liberty on the line for some baubles and trinkets. And really, I keep telling y'all that Black Friday is only a corporate metric of what the public responds to. That's all it is. They have those products in their warehouses stocked up all year long. Don't get it twisted. And they bring it all out for Black Friday and for the holiday shopping season that occurs between the day after Thanksgiving all the way into the new year. And they'll be making deals the entire month and a half, right? And they'll be asking you to spend your money. Meanwhile, mama got that sugar, high blood pressure. You know, we ain't got no savings. We ain't got no investments. But we know how to run through the store and get some Black Friday. We know how to do that for some plastic and tin and aluminum metal planned obsolescence. What I mean by planned obsolescence? Well, if you go back and you look at the show where I did planned obsolescence, it's consumable products that are designed to break down, so you have to buy them over. Yeah, man, that's what it is. It's consumer tin and aluminum and plastic designed to break. That's why there's an iPhone every year. Every other year, there's another iPhone. Every other year, there's another, they launch a new set of toys that come out, a new set of plastic junk and crap that, you have to consume, or, you act like your loved ones don't love you if you're not consuming the plastic metal planned obsolescence. When really, we should be spending our money on experiences with our family, not cheap plastic tin crap that's going to break so that you have to buy it over. And if you have to buy cheap plastic, aluminum, tin crap that breaks, do your homework so you can find the most efficient one. Because I know they're not selling no phones for less than $400, $500. iPhone, you ain't getting no iPhone for less than $800. Off rip. So I want to show y'all something cool in the middle of a Real HD show, Lit City Report. And my homegirl, Jennifer Lewis, man. She has something real dope. That a song that she made to inspire us to be on code, inspire us to be better, inspire us to have a little more ingenuity. And I think it should last. I think this should be a Thanksgiving carol. That's right, I said it. A Thanksgiving carol. So that means every Thanksgiving, when you sit down and you have family day, that's right, I'm claiming it. No more Thanksgiving. It's gonna be renamed Family Day. Fuck Miles Standish and the Pilgrims, right? It's all about family, right? But this is gonna be the theme moving forward in the community so that we could be better, brighter, and more self-sufficient. Here we go. Real HD show. Y'all can laugh.
Hey, is everybody on track? Cause this Friday ain't black. Cause we ain't buying shit. We ain't buying shit. Well, I stand up and never quit. We ain't buying shit. From the 25th of November to the 5th of December. Remember, we ain't buying shit. We ain't buying shit. This Friday ain't black, 'cause we got each other's back. We ain't buying shit. We ain't buying shit. We ain't buying. We ain't buying. We ain't buying shit.
Yo, she's dope, man. I digs her. I digs her a lot. I dig what she did right there. And y'all should too. Y'all can laugh. That's why we in the middle of a Lit City report. We showing Jennifer Lewis. You know her as the grandma on Blackish, and she played so many roles. She also played the aunt on Fresh Prince of Bel Air way back in the day. She's dope, super multi-talented individual. She put out something for the people. I'm all for it. If y'all for it, put a little message in the comment. Let me know if you for it. Let me know if you rocking with it. Let me know if you feeling good. And if you ain't buying shit. I love it. I love it. Shout out to Wifey. Wifey hit me off with that. That was so dope. That should be the anthem. That should be the anthem. After we finish eating, somebody in the family should put that on. The We Ain't Buying Shit song. That should be a tradition in black households all across the country. And then we can learn to weaponize it. We can learn to weaponize it, and we can learn to use it for the things that for tangibles, for the things that we demand in our community that could help us be better, help us be more solidified, and help us be a better people. Like this. Okay? So there's a couple of things that we need to get into before we get off the screen tonight. And one of the things we need to get into, oh, there's Homegirl, and no, that's not the one. Okay. Spoke too fast. Okay. So I'm trying to find this joint. Let me see. Trying to find this joint for school system. Yeah, we need to ask for what we want. We want better school systems. Then we need to hold out, have a press conference, have a presser, and tell them we're holding out until y'all do better by our school systems. Until y'all start implementing the things that are going to make us better in our school systems so that when we graduate, we are ready to enter the employment world, ready to take it head on and really uh, be better as folk and be more fortified and be more ready to take on the world through education. And I can't find that one piece for now, so I'll just talk about it. So it was Rochester City School District. Kathy Hochul, the governor of New York, just signed the $600 million budget for the city of Rochester. So I know that must be quadrupled for the city of New York. And what will that go to? What will it help improve? Now, they have those funds earmarked for school improvements, so on and so forth. But if we ain't buying shit, can we begin to dictate where that money goes, how that money is being used? Because ultimately, it's taxpayer money. It's your money. It's taxpayer money. You work, you pay taxes. That money is in that $600 million coming back to Rochester for civil and educational improvement. And how do we begin to take ownership of that? We do that by not buying shit. Now, I'm not saying that's the answer. It's a start. But we got to have unity. We got to have what J. Edgar Hoover feared. Unity within the community. How do we do that? We make sure that we unify and we get together over the things that we have in common versus the things that we don't have in common. We talk way too much about the things that we don't have in common versus the things that we have in common and the things that help us excel as a people. You know, King Bolson, Dr. King Bolson said, Rashad King Bolson said, Black people are a cultural superpower. That's true, but we don't act like it. We don't act like we're prepared to use that agency and move the world the way we know we can. So many industries that would never be the same globally if melanated people didn't put their heart, soul, and ingenuity into it. The world would just not be the same. I remember when Trump was running when he first put out all of the presidential orders, and he was ending this and shutting down that and cutting back on this and cutting back on that. And white people across the country were having a collective gasp, like, "Ugh, what? You mean to tell me he's taking all of that away? I don't want to live in a corny country. I don't want to not have Black people not do what Black people do. That's what makes this country fun, exciting, worth living in." They know it. We know it. We got to act like we can do it. And we need to weaponize it by not buying shit. Staying on code. It's easy to do. It's easy to do. And you'll save yourself some money. And you save yourself some bread. All right. Is there one more I could get into before we have to get out of here? Oh, yeah. We got to talk about this. Okay. So there's a video, right? And it's very important that we pay attention to this video because there are some real things happening with this social media that we're using. And even the email algorithms, and Google and Meta is up to some bullshit. They on some bullshit right now, honestly. And we need to be active and vigilant against it. But first we need to do that by understanding what's actually going on. Right? So Meta and Google are doing a couple of things that are going to be really harmful. And by December 16th, we need to be very, very vigilant and very, very counterproductive to this. And spread this, share the show, share this clip. Clip it, share it. Here it is, Real HD Show.
Will start reading your DMs. Every conversation, every photo, every voice message fed into AI and used for profit. So here's how to stop it. Now, they make this intentionally difficult on purpose, and you can only do this on desktop. You cannot do this from the mobile app. So first, you're going to visit privacycenter.instagram.com, and it's going to take you to this page here. And what you want to do is you click on Other Policies and Articles, and you'll see where it says how Meta uses information for generative AI models and features.
That's right. Meta sold the farm again. Again, I guess that $500 million fine by Congress wasn't enough. Now they sold the rights to Google to read your emails and your DMs. And you have to go into your settings, click off the privacy tabs, and secure your emails, your phone data, your DMs. And I would say do that for all your social media utilities. I use a ton of them. I use about 15 social media outlets for this show. Make sure you're doing that so that you're helping yourself and you're not being a resource for AI. All right, here we go. Finishing up.
Features. Click here. And the third option is privacy and generative AI. You open this, scroll to the bottom, and you'll see it says, Whether you use Meta products or not, anyone can submit requests related to their personal information from third parties being used to develop and improve AI at Meta. You click on Learn More and Submit Requests here, and this is the form that you want to submit. So you click this, fill out this information here, and send this, and this is how you submit to opt out of Meta using your information to improve their AI services.
All right, so you see, it's not just a clicking buttons and icons in your privacy settings. You have to click the buttons in the privacy settings in your back office of your Facebook and Instagram and your social media and your Google. Please go on Facebook, Instagram, and Google and do this through all three of those uh, logistics. And then you have to fill out a form saying that you do not consent to this, abandoning of your privacy. And they're hoping and they're depending on most people not doing that. They're hoping. They're thinking that you're lazy, that you're complacent, that you're happy with what you got and you don't even want to lift a finger. Make sure you go in them back privacy settings, fill out the entire form, write a little bit of a 3-sentence ditty about what you don't like about what they're doing, and opt out. Opt out. Opt out. It's that time. It's that time. It's wake up time. Get out, get up, get out, do something. Get out time. Wake up time. All right, we got one more. One more. And this comes from Brother Mozzie. So I hope he's watching or he's gonna watch the replay because I'm getting ready to get into the joint that he shared with me. This is on Brother Mozzie's story on Facebook. Right. Hold on. Let's go back.
To the airport. Meanwhile, let me tell you what they've been wearing while they destroy people's lives. June 2024, Boeing CEO walks into Congress, suit and tie, $32.8 million salary, families holding photos of 346 dead loved ones, two plane crashes because this man in his nice suit decided to profit over safety. Whistleblower said that Boeing literally hid defective parts to a plane when the FAA came to inspect, moved them, then moved them back. And when the employees spoke up, Boeing retaliated. More than a dozen whistleblowers all told the same story. Spirit and Frontier Airlines paid agents $26 million in bonuses to harass customers about their bags, $10 every time they could charge you extra, and the complaints went up after they started the program. These airlines made $12 billion just on seat fees alone, not flights, but.
Wow. So there you have it. There you have it. I hope you heard that. I hope that played well on this end. I'm not sure. Leave me a message if you're watching and you didn't get the audio of that. But Boeing and the airline industry, where to start with these motherfuckers? Man, this is probably the worst 2 years for the airline industry of all time. But they want more money, like you heard the good sister say. One Madam President, that's her channel. Go check her out. Go give her a like and a subscribe. She talked about them making 12 million on just seat fees. Seat fees, that's right. Where you gonna sit on a train, a plane, or a bus? Crazy business, man. Even though they've had all of the problems that they have had over the last 2 years, planes crashing, viruses that took down the entire aviation system all over the country, all the way up to last month with the all of the worker outages because of the government shutdown. TSA and others. Give me a fucking break. Miss me, beat it with all of that. You know what I'm saying? Please be wise about how you spend your money, who you're spending your money with. And by the way, Boeing participates in the prison industrial complex. They have private prison contracts to help make parts assembly for these airplanes. So be very, very, very careful and leery of where you spend your money, how you spend your money. One last thing I want to talk about before we get out of here. I know it's a minute after. I got to show this video before I get out of here, though. It's about TSA and what's going on with Real ID. And this is another airport joint. Another airport joint. That's just stinking to high heaven. They want all this money. They want all this, moolah come up out of you. And they're giving you shit for service. But here's the latest in that crap house. Here we go. Real HD Show.
The TSA has proposed a new rule where passengers traveling without either form of identification would pay a fee of $18 in order to have their identity verified by a new biometric kiosk system. The fee would then allow passengers to access TSA checkpoints for 10 days. The public comment period for the proposed rule begins tomorrow.
Wow, did y'all hear that? So no Real ID, but they'll let you pay $18 extra while they research your background, even though you may be a normal citizen, and at their leisure. So they'll tell you whether or not they accept your ID, and if they don't accept your passport, if they don't accept the ID that you bring, then you got to pay $18 per person in your family to board an aircraft that you paid the ticket for. What type of bullshit is that? Come on, man. Yo, this is not gloom and doom. This is awareness so you can move fearless and you can plan freaking accordingly, man. So before you go to an airport, I don't know who has to go on an air trip tomorrow early, maybe 5, 6 in the morning, or maybe midday. Make sure you understand what IDs you have and if your IDs are acceptable where you're going. So you do not have to pay extra for their bullshit. $18 if you don't have a real ID. And if you have the real ID, you can opt out of it. You can go back to the DMV, give that real ID back in, and take yourself off their real ID database. You can do that. That's a real thing. I have the video, but I don't have time to play it. Don't be hoodwinked. Don't be swindled. Don't be bamboozled. Do the damn thing. Protect yourself. Find out what IDs you need and what you don't need. And maybe you don't need to take the trip. If the trip is going to rob you of your sovereignty, don't take the damn trip. Drive. Do something else. Get there a different way. Don't let them win simply for voluntary and for convenience. I'm your brother. I'm the Vic. We just had a higher discussion. I'm going to say peace. Y'all walk with power and y'all build with me next Wednesday, 8 p.m. Peace, y'all. Walk with power. Love on each other. Real HD Show. We're out.